Hello students, welcome to class 12 physics class. In previous video, we discussed about the electric current, variable current, constant current, two ways we can define the current, conventional current, electronic current. And I also told that today in this video we discuss about the electric density. But later, I think that before we discuss the electric current density, first we have to know the idea about electromotive force or EMF. That's why I made this video all about the electromotive force. Okay, so let's start. You see these three figures, figure A, B and C. In figure A, two containers A and B are connected with a pipe or tube C. And you see that in container A, the level of the water is more compared to B. That means we can say that there is a difference in water level between these two containers, and the water flows from high level to low level through the pipe or tube C. Okay, so there is a difference of water levels. Next, in this figure, you see that two objects A and B are connected by a thermal conductor C, and A has high temperature and B has low temperature. So there is a temperature difference between that two objects, and due to that temperature difference, heat will flow from a higher temperature object to a lower temperature object. Similarly, in this figure C, we see that two charged objects A and B are connected by a conducting wire C. And if we consider A is a high potential object and B is a low potential object, so there is a potential difference occurred between these two objects. That's why the electric charges flows through this conducting wire C from A to B. That means some difference are present. These three cases, the three difference are present. Here the water levels difference, here the temperature difference, here the potential difference. So if any difference is present, then the physical quantity, or in this figure the water, in this figure the heat, in this figure the electric charges, that physical quantities are flows through the via some paths from high to low. In this figure, high level to low level, high temperature to low temperature, high potential to low potential. Okay. Now, we know that from first video in this chapter, we see that, or we learned that if a charge, electric charges move inside the conductor, or if the electric charges are in motion, they constitute the electric current. So in that last figure, where two objects A and B, charge objects, this figure, this one, because of their potential difference, the electric charges flows through this C, conducting wire C. So when electric charges flows through a conducting wire, that means it constitutes a electric current. So we compare the electric current with that two examples, either with a flow of water, flow of heat. Okay, that's why this is called analogy of electric current. Analogy of electric current, that means if we compare with a flow of water, flow of temperature, or heat, flow of heat, then we see that there is a similar things happen in each cases. There's a physical quantities are different. In first figure it is a water, in second figure it is a heat, in third figure it is a electric charge. That's why this is called the analogy of electric current. So we can say that The flow of electric charge through a conductor is called electric current, and the amount of electric charge flowing per second through a cross-sectional area or through any cross-section of a conductor is called the strength of the current, or similarly we can in one word we can say that it is a flow of current. How much amount of electric charges flows per second through that area, that measure the strength of the current. Okay. If 2 coulomb charges is there, then it constitute 2 ampere. If 3 coulomb is there, then it constitute 3 ampere current. So in between 2 and 3, which one is more stronger? 3 ampere current. It's larger value. That's why we say that the amount of electric charge flowing per second through any cross section of a conductor is called the strength of the electric current. Okay, I think it is clear now why we draw that two pictures, then we compare it. Okay, now we discuss the source of electric current. That electric charge, from where we get this electric charges, or from where we get what is the source of electric current. We know that the source of electric current normally the battery or the electrochemical cells. Now we understand the source of electric current. So we draw this to figure here, that same figure, but here I will add one more thing. In between A and B container, one pump is added, okay, from A to B, and in this figure you see that the like pump like structure, pump like any device we connected in between A to B. So why we connect this pump or another one external device in this two configuration? Let's discuss this one. So the first figure, that means from this figure we can easily understand that after some time the water flow will from A to B will stop when the level of in container A and container B will same. Then the flow of water, no more water will flow through via the pipe C. Okay, so it is easy to understand that the water flow cannot continue for a long time, because there is a very short time the water level in A and B will become the equal. Now if we want a steady flow of water, a continuous flow of water, we have to maintain the level difference. That means whatever the time is there, okay, in all situation there will be a level difference in between that two container A and B. Water level difference must be present. If the level difference is present, only that condition the water will continuously flow through the pipe or tube C. We get a continuous flow of water in the pipe C, a pipe or tube C. So but how it is possible? It is possible when we connect or we add the pump from outside. What is the function of the pump? Why we connect this pump? What happened? This pump continuously it continuously take the water from B and move at outside. So this system, this pump needs the energy from outside to run, and that external energy of that pump acts as a source of water flow. Clear? That means what we say that in the first figure of this one, that means the previous one figure, it is easily understand that after some time the water flow cannot continue, because in a very short time the water level in both container A and B will become equal. But if the level difference can be maintained by sending water from the container B to container A with the help of pump. That's why we connect pump, not the outside, sorry. This pump, what happened, it will continuously sending the water from A to B. So that means the water level not equal to each other, not any time the water levels in both containers not equal to each other, and this pump needs energy from outside to run, and that external energy which runs this pump, that is a source of water flow. Understand, that is a source of water flow. Similarly, if we connect this pump like structure here, any device in between the object which continuously extract or transmit the electric charge from B to A, then in between A and B always potential difference is present, and if potential difference is present, then electric charge continuously flows through a conducting wire C, or we get a steady flow of electric charges. Clear? So similarly, a pump-like arrangement is required to obtain the continuous steady flow of electricity in C conductor, while maintaining the difference between potential difference between A and B. So what is the function of this system? This system transmit or sending the electric charges continuously from B to A, and external energy helps the system to this work. From outside, this energy system needs some energy from outside to run, and that external energy is the source of electricity. In this case, that external energy which runs the pump, and that's why we get a continuous flow of water, that is called the source of water flow. In this case, here in that pump like device, it also needs some energy to do this work. That means sending some charges from B to A. It needs some energy from the outside, and that external energy which from due to which we get a continuous or steady current flow in a conductor C is called source of electricity. Here all these things I will write and explain this all, what the figure tells us. Okay, all these things I will write. So what we can say, that we conclude that in order to maintain the flow of water in a tube, a force has to be applied from outside. A force which acts on the pump, that's why pump sending the water from A to B. Similarly, something similar to that force is needed to keep an electric current flowing in a conductor. We cannot say the pump, but similarly something similar to that force which needs to keep the electric current flowing in a conductor, and that physical quantity that similar to the force, that physical quantity which is similar to the force which is supplied from an electric source is known as electromotive force. That external energy which runs that pump like arrangement, or which supply some force similar to that force from an electric source, is known as electromotive force. But keep it in your mind, electromotive force and a force both are the different physical quantity, or we can say that electromotive force not a actual force, not a real force. Okay, in next you understand why we say that electromotive force is not a force, because the external energy is converted into whatever the external energy needs to operate that pump like structure P. that is converted into electrical energy, and when that electrical energy is when that external energy converted to electrical energy, only that condition electromotive force is formed. That's why we can say that electromotive force is not a force. Force means pressure by P equals to F by A, so F equals to pressure into area. So in water, that is first figure, first diagram, that means in this diagram we apply a force on that pump. Okay, that's why this pump sending some water from B to A. But in this in the second figure, that force similar the physical quantity which is similar to that force which is applied on the pump like structure from an electric source, because we need an electric charge. So the source also be an electric source, is known as electromotive force. That means the whatever the external energy we need to operate that system, that converted into electrical energy, and when it is converted into electrical energy, only that condition electromotive force is formed. So we can say that electromotive force equals to amount of electrical energy divided by transferred electric charge. Amount of electrical energy means work done by transferred electric charge per unit charge Q. So EMF equals to, we can write W by Q, work done per unit charge. Similarly, in one word we can say that electromotive force is a work done per unit charge. Okay, many ways we can define. It is defined as the electric potential produced by either electrochemical cell or by changing the magnetic field. Because in the when the magnetic field changed, when the next chapter magnetism, we also studied the EMF. Not only for the electric source or electric field, for magnetic field we get also the EMF, electromotive force. Another way, it is a work done by a source, because we know that work done is stored as electrical energy. That's why we say that here amount of electrical energy. It is the work done by a source, because source will work here. The work done by a source in taking a unit charge once round the complete the circuit, that is called EMF. And the devices which is used as a source of EMF are the electrochemical cell or the electric generator. You know the electrochemical cells. In chemistry you also studied electrochemical cell. That cells are the battery of torch battery, normal battery. That's at the electrochemical cell. And you know the electric generator. So from that definition we easily get the electromotive force unit, that is work done by charge, that is joule per coulomb, or in one word it is say that it is volt. Joule per coulomb, we know that it is called volt. So volt is the unit of potential difference. So from here we see that the unit of EMF and the potential difference has same. The unit of EMF and potential difference has same. Okay, next, so when an electric source does not send any current to the external circuit, that is when the circuit is open or disconnected, the potential difference between the ends of the source is called an electromotive force. Many definitions you get, in many ways you can write the definition of electromotive force. Already we discussed the three definitions here, 1, 2, 3. Another one, this is a logical, or we can say that this is mainly, this main definition is this one. When the electric source does not send any current to the external circuit, that is when the circuit is open circuit or disconnected, the potential difference, whatever the potential difference between the two ends of the source is called the electromotive force. Later we also understand how the potential difference is equal to the electromotive force when we discuss about the battery EMF. In this figure, second figure, in this second figure, one circuit we can say that ACB, another one circuit we can say that BPA or APB. Okay, so in this figure, ACB is an external circuit where the electrical energy transfer are converted into other energy. That means if we consider any example, an electric fan, the electrical energy converted into mechanical energy. For electric bulb or tube, the electrical energy converted into light energy and heat energy. That's why this ACB is a external circuit. But this ACB, this external circuit is operated by another one internal circuit or by a source, that is a BPA. This is an internal circuit where the external energy, that means external energy which operate this pump or this cell or battery, where the external energy converted into electrical energy, and here the electrical energy converted into another form of energy. So this process is first, here some external energy operated by this source, here that external energy converted to electrical energy. After that, here the electrical energy converted into other form of energy, either it will be heat energy, light energy, mechanical energy. That's why this ACB, this is a external circuit, and BPA, this is a internal circuit. Okay. Now we discuss most important topic, and from here you can understand why EMF is equal to the potential difference. So what is the EMF of battery, or when the EMF of battery is equal to the potential difference? So first of all, we discuss the structure of an electrochemical battery or battery. We know that battery is a device which maintains the potential difference between the two terminals A and B. In this figure, two terminals are there. We know that the battery's function of battery is maintain the potential difference. That means if no potential difference is there, then electric charges not move. Then if electric charges are not in motion, then how we get the electric current? That's why this battery maintain the electric potential difference, maintain the potential difference. Then how it will maintain the potential difference? What happened inside the battery? Let's discuss that things. So this is the two terminals of the battery, A and B, and we know that inside the battery many chemicals are present, and always the chemical reactions that takes place in the presence of such chemicals or in between that chemicals. And when due to that this chemical reaction, a force is generated. When that chemical reaction is generated, in case of a if you consider any one example, electrolysis, one electrolyte is there, two electrodes are there. Okay, so when what happened inside the electrolyte is ionized, or it is get divided or into two ions, positive and negative. Then positive and negative ion are get attracted by that two electrodes. Same way, not similar to totally similar, in the same way, inside the battery many chemicals are present, and that chemicals are always react with each other. That is called chemical reaction. And due to that chemical reaction, many ions are generated, either it will be positive or the negative. Okay, and due to that reaction, one force is generated, and due to that force, the all positive and all negative ions which are generated due to that chemical reaction are accumulated on either side. That means whatever the force is generated due to that chemical reaction, that is called non-electrical force, because due to that force we cannot get any electric current. So what is the function of that non-electrical force? Non-electrical force, the function of that force is whatever the positive and negative ions are present inside the battery, all positive are accumulated one side of the battery and all negative are accumulated once another side of the battery. Okay, and during that accumulation, so there is a positive, 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 positive. So this side becomes positive and this side becomes negative due to the accumulation of electric charges. And that is a function of this Fn. Clear? So this Fn is called non-electrical force because its function is opposite to the electrical force. What is the function of electrical force? It creates attraction between positive and negative. It creates a repulsion between positive, positive, negative, negative. But this non-electrical force, it will accumulate the positive and negative charges one side of the battery, and because of the accumulation of electric charge, one side of the battery becomes positive, another side of the battery becomes negative. That is a function of non-electrical force, and that's why this is called a non-electrical force. Or sometimes it is called chemical force because due to the chemical reaction it will generated. That's why it is called the chemical force. Here. Now the question is how long this process will last or continue. Lifetime, or it will stop after some time. What is the answer? Yes, it will stop after some time. It is not a lifetime process. Okay, so when it will stop? It is clear from this picture. After the accumulation of positive and negative, when this side becomes positive and this side becomes negative, two things increase very quickly. One is a potential. As the electric charges increases, potential also increases. Another one, due to the accumulation of this positive and negative, one electric field also set up in between them. That is electric field. Okay. That means we can say that after the accumulation of all positive and negative charges, an electric field is created between them. As a result, what happened? As a result, another force begins to form, and that force creates attraction between positive and negative. This is called electrical force, and it is created due to that electric field. Okay, so the function of Fn, it will accumulate it or it will separate the positive and negative one side of the battery. After accumulation, one side becomes positive and negative. That's why this force is called non-electrical force or chemical force, because due to the chemical reaction it will generate it. So after accumulation process, due to the accumulation of positive and electric charges, potential difference increases, as well as an electric field is set up between these two charges. And due to that electrical field, another electric force begins to form, that is called electrical force, which creates an attraction between positive and negative. Now the question, how long this process will last? When these two forces, this electrical force and Fn and Fe, electrical and non-electrical force, will equal to each other, when the value of Fn and Fe will be equal to each other, the process of accumulation will stop. No more electrical charges, positive or negative, are accumulated in the either sides. In that condition, we say that this process of accumulation will stop. And in that condition, when these two are the equal, that means no more charges are accumulated this side or that side, or we can say that from minus, electrons are moved from this side to that side. Okay. So in this condition, if we want, suppose another one positive charge also be present inside the battery due to the chemical reaction. After when this Fe equals to Fn is completed, in that condition, if we want to bring that positive charge from negative terminal to positive terminal, a work has to be done by this non-electrical force, because due to that this accumulation process is started. So if after when these two forces are equal to each other, after that if we want to bring any plus positive ions from negative terminal to positive terminal, a work has to be done by this non-electrical force, and that electrical force is called electromotive force. That electrical force is called electromotive force or EMF. So, work done by a non-electrical force to bring a positive charge from negative terminal to positive terminal of the battery is called EMF. Is called EMF. Understand? This is a theory of how the EMF is generated in a battery. This is a theory, but did you understand? Okay. Now mathematically we prove that EMF and potential difference are equal to each other. Mathematical expression. Okay. So as the charges are built up on the two terminals A and B, one side if we draw this one, this is A, this is B, one side becomes positive, one side becomes negative, this side is Fn and this side is Fe, opposite to Fn. So as the charges are built up on the two terminals A and B, a potential difference is set up, as we know that as the Q proportional to V, as the amount of electric charge increases, potential difference also increases. So an electrostatic force or electric force is set up, that is Fe, in between A to B or from A to B. So Fe equals to, we can write Q into E. We know this, E equals to F by Q, so F equals to Q into E. Now in steady state condition, that means when Fn equals to Fe. Now the work done by non-electrical force during the displacement, any charge is there, suppose Q charge is there. So when this Q charge is moved from negative terminal to positive terminal, one work has to be done by this non-electrical force, and that is equals to B to A, W equals to Fn into D, because work done is work has to be done by that non-electrical force, and D is the distance between these two terminals. So W equals to, we can write Fn into D, where D is the distance between A and B. Now from definition of electromotive force, what is the definition? Work done per unit charge. W by Q, that is denoted by E. EMF is denoted by E. So W equals to Fn into D by Q. E equals to this one. Okay. E is called electromotive force of the battery. Now, if the two terminals of the battery are open, that means it is not connected by any external source. Two terminals are open. Only that condition Fn equals to Fe, that is equals to QE, we can write that, because Fe equals to QE. Now in steady state this equals to this, Fe equals to QE, so we can write Fn equals to also Q into E. Now multiplied E, so multiplied both sides by D. So Fn into D, that is equals to Fe into D, that is equals to QE into D. Now electric field into distance, that is called potential V, Q into V. We know this one from first chapter, we studied this. And so from this expression, E equals to Fn D by Q, in place of Fn, if we put Q into V, Q cancel, we get V. So EMF equals to V. So EMF is equal to the maximum potential difference when the two terminals of the battery are open. So during the open circuit, when the two terminals are open in open circuit, the potential difference is equal to its electromotive force. Clear? This is a mathematical expression. Mathematically we can prove the EMF is equal to the potential difference, maximum potential difference between the terminals. So when EMF is equal to maximum potential difference when the two terminals of the battery are open. Now if we consider a closed circuit, that means That two terminals are connected by externally with a resistance. Then what happened? Let's see. So now the battery two terminals are connected by an external source, that is R. Okay. In that figure, A to B via C, and it is connected by a pump P to maintain the steady flow, because we need a potential difference. Continue, we maintain the potential difference. No. So suppose this is a battery, two terminals plus and minus, it is connected by a resistance. Then what happened? Then whatever the positive charge is accumulated over here, it gets a path to travel. So through this wire it will start in motion, and here resistance is, what is the function of resistance? To oppose the electric charge. So due to when it cross this resistance, here some energy will lost, but after that when it will enter in this terminal, its energy totally lost. It's totally lost. But by the conservation of charge energy, or charge energy is neither be created nor be destroyed, it only transform in other form, convert it into other form. Okay, so here the heat is generated, the loss of energy, that is heat, is generated across the resistor or resistance. So what happened when the positive charges here, whatever the positive charges accumulated over here, when it will start in motion, and so this Fn again accumulate positive charge from here to here. This process again it starts, and when this process starts by the non-electrical force, a potential difference also increases, electric field also set up. That means we get a steady flow in between A and B when we connect it with a resistance externally. So EMF of a source may be defined as the energy supplied by a source in taking a point unit positive charge once around, that is one round, that's why we mention over here once round the complete the circuit, that is called EMF. That is called EMF. E equals to W by Q. Did you understand? If you have any queries, please ask in the comment box. Thank you.